Hello, I'm going to show you how to make a snowman like this in Blender, with arms actually. So, let me delete all of this, and I can just open new instead of doing that. Actually, just click new, and delete this cube, add a sphere, and what I did is I pressed spacebar, and I added a UV sphere. I typed in add UV sphere, which when you press spacebar, it opens this search menu, and you can type in anything to find anything. And what you want to do, if you don't want to search and add from that menu, instead what you can do is you can actually press Shift A on the keyboard, and it opens up an add menu, and you can add any type of object you could add in the search menu. So it's actually better to use the add menu than it is to use the search menu. So now just go under Mesh, UV Sphere, and that adds a sphere. Instead of having to go through that search menu and having to type in add UV sphere, then you can just go under Shift A, add menu. So now that I've added two UV spheres, I need to move them, position them, just like you would making a snowman with real snow. So just size it up, make it look like a snowman, and duplicate it by pressing Shift D on the keyboard and sizing this down. And now I just have to smooth this, and the way that you smooth this is you have to go into edit mode and press W, and then on this menu, the specials menu that pops up, you click shade smooth, and now it's smooth. So you do the same thing with these. You can do that by doing the same thing, or you can just duplicate this and size it up. It's different sizes. Duplicate it and then size it, and duplicate it, size it. And now we just created the body of the snowman. So now what we want to do is duplicate the head, pressing Shift D and adding some eyes. You can add huge eyes if you want. You can add them this big if you want, all the way out here. That'd be too big, but just add small eyes like that. It's a good size. So now you duplicate it, add another one over here, and the way I move this is just by move around. The way I'm moving these around like this is I just press G and then whatever axis you want to move it on. So if you want to move it X, which is frontwards and backwards, and forwards and backwards, and if you want to move it to side, then you press G, Y, and that moves it side to side. And if you want to move it vertically, then you just GZ, which moves it up and down. So I'm just going to do that and duplicate this, make some mouth parts, and so we just size this down, make it like smaller. And now instead of having to duplicate this, then we can just use an array modifier, which is located on the modifiers panel. Just click on the modifiers panel, and we're going to use an array modifier. The array modifier is right here. And basically what the array modifier does is what the little picture shows right here. Basically what that is it's duplicating objects automatically for you. So it creates a mirrored object, and you can do multiple counts. So if you want, let's say we want about 5 maybe, so we just type in 5, or we can just click on this, or we can drag on the arrow. So I'm just going to do 5, and you notice that it didn't do anything, but that's because what axis it's on. It's located on the x-axis. So basically, we just want to take out this 1 right here and type in on the y-axis 1. And now, as you can see, because it's on the y-axis, then it duplicates them on the y-axis. So now we're going to add a nose and some arms. So what you're going to do to add a nose is just add a cylinder. So you can add it any way you want, but I'm going to add a cylinder in Shift A in the add menu mode. So now we just add a tube, which is the same thing as a cylinder, in Blender 2.49b, and you just rotate it 90 degrees by pressing RY 90. You just type it in while you're on the rotating mode. Just size it down to whatever size you like. If you want a fat nose like this, you can have a fat nose. If you want a skinny nose, you can have a skinny nose. So now I'm just going to do a skinny nose. So you go into edit mode, select the front face of this nose, extrude it up. It already automatically, as you can see, extrudes on the x-axis. And just size it down. I'm trying to look like Pinocchio. So just size it down however you like. Make it look like a carrot. Move it around, make it all wiggly and ugly. Like that. And you can do whatever you want. But I'm just going to do this. So, go into edit mode, shade smooth. You press W, shade smooth, just like we did with the spheres. And now we're going to add some arms. And the way to do that is we can just use this as one of our arms, or both of our arms. Just like we did by duplicating all of the spheres, we can use objects that we've already used to make other things, instead of having to create new ones. Basically what we do is just Shift D, move it over, and rotate it, and move it down the side, and move it into position. And now what we're going to do is add a mirror modifier. Size it up, make it look bigger, and just going to size this down here and these vertices. And now we're going to add a mirror modifier. So go into object mode. Actually, edit mode is actually better to do. And so now what we have to do is add the mirror modifier at the origin. So if the origin is right there, then our other arm should be on the other side, or depends on where it's positioned. So we're going to add a mirror modifier. This is right here, located in the modifiers panel, and just click on mirror. And now as you can see, when you move it up and down, the mirror is set to being on the x-axis. So what we want to do is change it. Instead of x-axis, we want it to be on the y-axis. So just move it out away from the other one and rotate it 90 degrees. And now go to object mode to rotate it. Because in edit mode, as you notice, it rotates differently. But in object mode, it rotates differently also. So now, we're going to add little branches that sprout off of these. So, what I have to do is select the top vertices of this arm and duplicate it and just move it into position like this. Extrude it and move this in there to look like it comes from it, so that it looks kind of like a branch. And you can add 3 if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And there we go. You can just rotate these on the y-axis. And there's your snowman. Basic snowman.